God didn't give you the strength to get back on your feet so that you can run back to the same thing that knocked you down. Whoo! Listen, shout out to Faith and Familia for that quote. OMG. That might be a trigger, you know. This is really a real quote. Like, and honestly, that's something that you have to be real with yourself about, you know, like how many of us have prayed to get out of situations, like just asking God, please just get me out of this situation. I promise you, I will never go back. As soon as He get us out of those situations and we're back on our feet, what do? We go running back into that same situation again. Like, that's crazy, you know. Or when you're asking for help from someone to rescue you or save you or get you out of a rut, and then you find yourself getting back into that same situation, and now you're asking for help again. It's just ridiculous. And I'm gonna be honest, there were times where I was like that. You know what I'm saying? uh, I would find myself going through those same cycles, but that's because I was lacking awareness and just not really paying attention to what was going on in my life. And that this is so important that when we reach out to God and we reach out to other people and we're getting rescued or we're getting help, it is so important that when we get out of certain situations that we make sure we take the necessary steps to keep us from getting back in those situations. Like for me, for instance, I used to be like a couch surfer for so much of my 20s. Like I did not have a stable home for a while. Like I was either living with my parents or living with my family or over here in, like at a friend's house, or it was just so chaotic for most of my 20s. And I just remember like I was just all over the place. And I'm like, and I was randomly like jobs, I wasn't stable with jobs either. Like I would start a job and then I would hate it and quit, or something would happen, and I would just always be in this constant loop of like survival. And I'm here, I am just asking God, like, please, if I can just get this job, I promise you I'm not gonna quit. I'm just gonna stay here. Like, let me. And I would get the job, and then here I am ready to quit. Like, and I kept doing that. And I kept wondering, like, whoa, why am I not becoming stable financially? Why am I always having it hard? Because I'm asking for something, but then I'm getting myself back in a situation again to keep being in survival. Like, so I needed to wisen up and listen, we gotta, through the mud, through the fire, like we are not quitting another job unless you have a job lined up. And every time you run into issues at a job, it's not time for you to leave. It's time for you to work through those problems and issues with people and, get through it and stick it out. Like I had to really force myself. So how I did that was, well, I had to get a place. Once I got my own place, then that forced me to like, listen, either you get your own place or if you don't have, like, you might get evicted if you don't pay your bills. So you got to pay your bills. So you got to have this, you got to keep this job. Like, so now I'm taking jobs seriously now because I don't want to go back into that situation where I have to depend on living with someone else under their home and their rules with their energy, and I'm asking God to get me out of this situation. But then what do I look like just being careless and just saying F this job, quitting, like, and then I'm back in the no. So it took me getting real with myself, holding myself accountable and keeping it moving. And that's the important thing is like when we get ourselves out of these situations, God helps us get out. We need to get real with ourselves. and be like, listen, okay, how am I not going to get back in that situation? I promise you, that's not a good feeling. I need to hold myself accountable and not do these things to get me back into that situation. Like, so I'm paying my bills on time. I'm paying my rent. Like my roof over my head is my peace. This nobody can just come up in here. This is my space, and this is what I've been needing, you know. So I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I jeopardize that. So that's why this quote is so bomb, because we can't keep knocking ourselves back down once we get that strength. When God fills us with strength, He wants us to stay out of that situation and move according to how we gotta be used by Him, okay? To help bless others and bring others awareness to this consciousness, okay? So this is why you don't go and get yourself back into that situation, because then what's going to happen is you're going to keep going in these cycles, and then eventually you're going to go down on a decline. And that's not, you always want to go the other way and progress, evolve. You never want to go backwards in life, okay? And that is just dangerous. So that's another reason why you can't keep going back into those situations. I hope this hit home for some of y'all, because you should not be going back to that person, that place, that job, that friend. Like, when God removes you, He's saving you and protecting you. So move differently. I know it might be tempting, but now is not the time to play those games, okay? Just keep it moving and get to your next level. Love y'all.